Good morning, everyone. Welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. My name is Alpa Sharma, and this is our daily editorial analysis. I hope you can hear and see me absolutely clearly. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I hope I'm clearly visible and audible enough on the app and people on YouTube as well. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. If you could quickly confirm my visibility and audibility, yes, on both the platforms, I'm clearly visible and audible. All right, guys. So, how was the weekend? Last Friday, I've taken two articles from Friday and Saturday because Sunday we don't have editorials, right? So, I've taken these two articles, and the reason for taking the Friday's article is that I am very, very hopeful of the fact that the article I'm going to discuss today, the first one from the Hindu, will be a very important one, can easily be asked as a reading comprehension. The second also is from the Hindu. This is from the Friday one, and the second one is from the Saturday's Hindu. So we're going to be discussing these two. 21st of February is today. So before we start off with anything in the class, let's quickly have a look at a few things. If you're targeting CLAT 2022 that happens in May, you know the date hasn't been changed yet. So we've got a crash course, batch 2 that we've launched. So क्योंकि आपके पास बहुत कम टाइम बचा है, I would expect you to enroll yourself in this batch at the soonest. Also, if you're targeting CLAT 23 that happens in December this year, our batch number 8 has been launched, but I'll be teaching as well. So if 23 is your target, जल्दी से इस batch के लिए enroll कर लो. अगर आपको MSCT, ALET, SLAT, BLET, JAMIA ये लो entrance examinations देना है, जिनका pattern क्लैट से थोड़ा डिफरेंट है, तो इसका बैच 2 भी लॉन्च हो चुका है. अगर ये एग्जाम्स आपका टारगेट है तो जल्दी से एनरोल कर लो. बहुत टाइम से आपकी क्लासेस अटेंड कर रही हूँ, फिर भी अच्छा परफॉर्म नहीं कर पा रही हूँ और बहुत ऑकवर्ड परफॉर्मेंस हो रही है, तो मूवीज आपको ये रियलाइज करना अब पड़ेगा कि ये क्यों हो रहा है. आपको अपने मॉक्स को, आपको अपने स्कोर्स को देख के समझना पड़ेगा कि आप किस चीज में लैक कर रहे हो. प्लीज आइडेंटिफाई दैट. उसके बाद हम एक टाइमलाइन बना सकते हैं कि हमको आगे बढ़ना कैसे, लेकिन आपको ये रियलाइज करना बहुत जरूरी है कि आपके मार्क्स क्यों नहीं आ रहे हैं अभी तक. प्लीज आइडेंटिफाई दैट. जीएमआई के लिए ये बैच है बच्चे, मुस्कान. ओके, तो ये बैच आप ज्वाइन कर सकते हो. एंड लास्ट बट नॉट द लीस्ट, अगर आपको सारे सब्जेक्ट नहीं पढ़ने हैं बट यू विश टू स्टडी ओनली लीगल अफेयर्स and current events, then a booster course batch 2 has been launched where Abhimanyu Nivedita would be teaching you legal affairs and current events. Look no further, jaldi se enroll kar lo because you know they are the best in the industry right now. इनसे अच्छा और कोई नहीं पढ़ा सकता, तो जल्दी से एनरोल कर लो और क्लासेस में आ जाओ. अब आज क्लास में क्या करने वाले, रिविजन आज करेंगे नहीं क्योंकि 2 दिन पहले क्लास हुई थी, सैटरडे संडे क्लास नहीं थी. We'll take up 2 very important articles. Ragini, I've taken the article you asked me to take. I've taken that article today. Okay. नहीं उमेश, पिछले से कुछ भी स्टार्ट नहीं करना है, आज से स्टार्ट करो. ओके. No, Ranganathan, I will use it bilingually, but I'll make sure that you understand the article. Okay. Everyone who does not understand Hindi, I will obviously explain things bilingually because a lot of people don't understand complete English as well. But I will make sure that you understand both the articles in detail. Okay. मैम इंडियन एक्सप्रेस का भी एडिटोरियल रीड कर सकते हैं. गोपाल कृष्ण, आप मेरी क्लासेस में रेगुलरली नहीं आते हो, शायद आपको शायद ये पता नहीं है कि मैं यूजुअली एक इंडियन एक्सप्रेस का आर्टिकल भी लेती हूँ. आज क्योंकि हिंदू की मुझे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट लगे तो मैं 2 हिंदू के आर्टिकल्स लेके आ रही हूँ. बट ये जो नाम है ना, हिंदू एडिटोरियल एनालिसिस, you guys know I every day take one Indian Express article, sometimes take Aeon article, sometimes take the Guardian articles. My idea is to accommodate you with reading comprehension skills from various editorials, picking up articles which can be framed into a reading comprehension or a critical reasoning passage. So you just need to be regular with me. Okay? I will do that, Ranganathan. Yes. Alright, so we're going to do 2 articles today, supremely important. We'll take out the vocabulary, memorize the vocabulary from these 2 articles. I will be asking you some inference questions in between the 2 articles that I discussed with you. I'll be asking you the tone of the author question of these 2 articles. I'll be asking you the summary of these 2 articles, which you have to write down under my video in the comment section. I'll be checking each of your summaries. And then we'll look at today's Hindu and Indian Express and we'll see what are the important articles we need to study from today's newspaper. And out of the articles that I tell you, 2 will be picked up for tomorrow's editorial discussion. So that's going to be our agenda for the day. Okay? All right. So, what happened? What happened? What happened? Yes. Okay. So, let's move ahead. Let's start with the vocabulary from today's articles. A lot of words repeated. If you're regular with my classes, you'll know so many of them. The first one is effluent. Okay. One word is affluent. The next word is effluent. Effluent. So, fluent or fluence is the root word which means to flow. Okay, so for example, there's sewage coming out of factories, there's liquid waste coming out of factories, it flows out. That waste could be called out of factories, can be called as effluent. What does affluent mean? Who's going to tell me that? What does affluent mean? उमेश, मेरे टेलीग्राम का लिंक आपको मेरी वीडियो यूट्यूब में जाके वीडियो के नीचे जो डिस्क्रिप्शन सेक्शन है वहां मिल जाएगा. Anyone who's trying to find that, मेरे YouTube वीडियो के नीचे डिस्क्रिप्शन में मेरे टेलीग्राम ग्रुप का लिंक है, आप वहां से ज्वाइन करके मुझे टैग कर सकते हो. कुछ लोगों के कुछ टाइम से मैसेजेस पेंडिंग है. आई अश्योर यू मैं आज सबके मैसेजेस आंसर कर दूंगी. ऑलराइट. Prosperous, yes. Affluence is rich, exactly. And effluent is waste flowing out. Correct, absolutely correct. Wealthy, yes. Yes, Priya, YouTube पे भी मेरी क्लास simultaneously stream हो रही है ये. Okay? Outflow, discharge, emission, Ragini, very good. That's synonym to effluent. All right, let's move ahead. The next word, Anthropocene. We've discussed this word multiple times in the past. Okay? Anthropo means human. And scene or center means human is the center. Now, Anthropocene is talking about a period of time when human is the priority and everything that as a change takes place in the world is for the upliftment or betterment of humans. That time period is termed as Anthropocenter or Anthropocene. We've become a major force of nature in this new Anthropocene epoch. So that means the human is the center and human has a big influence over climate, environment, forest cover, animals, everybody. Human has a big influence or change over these aspects. That's Anthropocene. Okay? Understood everyone? Exactly, Priya. Most of them are reiterated. That's the beauty of regularly working on vocabulary through editorials. It makes you revise the words. Yes. Alright, the next word, distort. Distort is twisting, playing with something. Okay, so can I say the facts are distorted? So for example, I go to a court and I file a case and then the judge realizes, no, the data, the facts are distorted. That means somebody has twisted them, somebody has played with them, somebody has meddled with them, and thus the data right now that we have is a false one. That is distorting. Okay, so many factors can distort the result. That means it can twist the result and make the result a false one. People distort with their P&L and balance sheet, right? That's how they try to save a lot of tax by distorting the figures. नहीं मैं इतना तो मैंने कमाया ही नहीं, मेरी तो earning कम थी, ये तो मुझे gift में मिला है. Giving those examples is distorting the data, distorting the facts. Okay. Yes, Tanishka. Yes. Yes, my child. Okay. So, twisted, puzzled, misreport, manipulate, all of these are synonyms to distort, misrepresentation. Yes, all of these are. Okay. The next word is vague. Not clear is vague. Simple. Not clear. So, vague communication, you do not understand kya hone wala hai. He had been very vague about his activities. Nobody knew. It was unclear. So, simple synonym to vague is unclear. Vague image in my mind, unclear image in my mind. Vague data, vague information, vague communication, something that's not very clear is going to be vague. The last word of this slide, tract. I had taught you the root word tract, which means to pull. So contract and distract and tractor and all of these words have the same root word tract. But what does the word tract mean? Not the root word, the word tract. So tract means it is spread for a large amount of time, large number of people. That is tract. It took courage to privatize vast tracts of nationalized industry. That means huge, big power of industries, and then to privatize them. It took a lot of courage to us. 1991, right? It was a courageous decision. But yes, we are happy that it happened. So the vast tract is huge, a lot of, to a large extent is tract. Slide number 1, jaldi se sab screenshot le lo. Okay? Expands, extends, all of these. Yes, ये सारे synonyms हो गए. Imperfect त्रिशिका for distort यूज कर सकते हो, बिल्कुल यूज कर सकते हो. ठीक है? All right. Twist, wrap for vague. Yes, you can use that. Okay? एंथ्रोपोसीन फिर से समझाओ, हिंदी में समझाती हूँ. एंथ्रोपोसीन होता है जहां एक टाइम पीरियड होता है, एक ऐसा एरा होता है, जैसे रेनेसां एक एरा होता था, तो वैसे ही एंथ्रोपोसीन एक ऐसा एरा होता है जहां ह्यूमन अपने बेनिफिट के लिए तो बहुत कुछ कर लेता है, अपने अपलिफ्टमेंट के लिए तो बहुत कुछ कर लेता है, लेकिन वो उसका इम्पैक्ट हम एनवायरनमेंट में, क्लाइमेट में देखते हैं. तो अभी हम जिस पीरियड में रह रहे हैं ना, ये एंथ्रोपोसीन ही है कि हम अपने लिए तो बहुत कुछ कर रहे हैं, इंडस्ट्रीज बना रहे हैं, डेवलपमेंट कर रहे हैं, रोड्स बना रहे हैं, पहाड़ काट रहे हैं, टनल बना रहे हैं, लेकिन इसका इम्पैक्ट अब हम देख रहे हैं क्लाइमेट पे और एनवायरनमेंट पे. ओके, चलिए नेक्स्ट वर्ड, नेक्स्ट स्लाइड एवरीवन. स्लाइड नंबर 2. Perturb is to disturb. An unsettling feeling and a disturbing feeling in your mind is perturbed. They were perturbed by her capricious behavior. So they were disturbed. They were unsettled, or maybe they were anxious. They were not really happy with what was happening, is perturbed. Next word, avalanche. You would know what that is. You have seen so many movies on Mount Everest, so many movies on climbers, where a massive snow or ice or rock would fall down with a massive speed that it would destroy things. That sliding of rocks or snow or ice is that movement is called an avalanche. So he was swept to death by an avalanche in 1988. Recently बहुत न्यूज में था, उत्तराखंड में जो चीजें हुई थी उसके लिए हमारे कुछ सैनिक हमको मिले थे जो फंस गए थे उस वजह से भी. तो ये सारी चीजें इसकी सिनोनिम हो जाती हैं. अनसर्टेन त्रिशिका फॉर डिस्टॉर्ट बिल्कुल हो सकता है बच्चे, त्रिशिका बिल्कुल हो सकता है. You're right. Fervent for perturb, that's a related one. Ali, okay? Yes, Mobis, it can be. All right. All right, the next word, fraught. Okay, so fraught is a situation that has a very undesirable result. That undesirable end is a fraught one. So marketing any new product is fraught with danger. So it is impacted with the negative downside of it as well. ठीक है, ये हो सकता है ऐसा. So fraught with is to suffer maybe or have a bad result to it, bad end result to it is fraught. Got that everybody? Any questions? Annoying for perturb बोल सकते हो प्रीति? Anxious for perturb? Yes. Yes, Abhinav, Ukraine crisis will fraught into a global crisis. Yes, it's not only Russia and Ukraine that's going to suffer. It's going to be a global crisis. Absolutely. Aftermath, आप fraud के लिए rebel related word है. Exact synonym तो नहीं होगा, related word है. ठीक है? Repercussion भी related word है. श्रिया, you're right. The next word, domicile. देखो, मैं समझा देती हूँ domicile क्योंकि आप में से बहुत लोग ये questions मुझसे CLAT के form के reference में पूछते हो. मूल निवास प्रमाण in Hindi. In English, domicile is the state in which you have a home and you have been living in the state for 10 or more than 10 years. That is your domicile. Okay. Now, a lot of people had been asking me questions about, ma'am, should I be filling out? मैं रहता तो यहाँ हूँ बट मेरे पास सर्टिफिकेट नहीं है, मेरे दादाजी का ये सर्टिफिकेट है. नो, डोंट मार्क फॉर or don't try to avail the domicile reservation provided by every NLU except NLU Delhi. It provides domicile reservation, right? So you are lucky if your state has one. If your state does not have the NLU, we can't tell you that. But do not apply for that reservation unless and until you have a valid government approved domicile certificate. It can be either named with domicile at the top or will be named as Mool Nivas Praman Patra. No third document will work there. It will be rejected. So don't take that risk. Okay. So my wife has a domicile of origin in Germany. That means she was born and she had stayed there. Okay. No, that's same. Ankita, that's the same. All right. Yes, Umesh, every single day. Every single day. Abode, dwelling, all of these Ragini are synonyms. Yes. The last word, glaring. Glaring inequalities. हम ये word बहुत use करते हैं. Glaring inequalities is it's obvious. It's there everywhere. We just can't omit it. So inequalities in our country. So gender inequality, economic inequality, caste inequality. It's glaring. That means it's so visible that we can understand it even by looking into our homes or looking into our surroundings. It's glaring. Okay. There is a glaring omission in the data. That means it's obvious that data has been omitted. It's obvious or it's conspicuous. That is glaring. Slide number 2. Jaldi se screenshot le lo sab log. Prima facie. Sabat for what word, bache? Okay. All right. Domestic. All of these are synonyms. Okay. Yes. Correct. They are. Apparent, unmistakable, very good. That are synonyms to glaring. Okay? Blazing, yes, they are synonyms. Last slide, quickly. Far away. Simple. It is away from your reach, away from your ideas, away from your surrounding. That's far away. She had a far away look in her eyes. So possibly she was, lost in her thoughts and you could not gauge what she's going through. That's a far away look. A far away idea beyond what can be comprehended easily, beyond what is there in your surrounding is far away. And the last word, impinge. Impinging is advancing over an area belonging to someone or something else, like encroaching. So this is my territory. You illegally get into my territory. That is impinging. The proposed fencing would impinge on public bridleway. That is, if you draw a fencing here, you are taking over the areas that is for the public. So you are encroaching it. That is impinge. All right. चलिए NLU की बातें खत्म करते हैं. Glaring for transparent in being. No, Trishika, no. आप नहीं ऐसे लिख करके याद कर सकते हो त्रिशिका. गुड आइडिया. ठीक है, बट उसका आप एग्जैक्ट सिनोनिम नहीं मार्क करोगे. ओके, ठीक है. आज का आर्टिकल बहुत 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 इंपॉर्टेंट है. चलिए आर्टिकल से स्टार्ट करते हैं. राइट. So now I would expect you guys to not indulge into any kind of which NLU and कौन से बिहार में है या नहीं है. कोई प्राइवेट टॉक्स नहीं करना आपको कि JMI का फॉर्म आ गया नहीं आ गया. इस पे ध्यान दो. फिर जब ये हो जाएगा तब हम और चीजें डिस्कस कर सकते हैं. So I would expect your attention to be here right now. Complete attention. Supremely important. I'm very hopeful it can be framed into a reading comprehension. Come back and thank me if that happens. So, a planetary adjustment. Let's understand. There are a lot of things to be inferred here. So, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, perhaps his first address this year on the theme of the environment. You knew last year we had a lot of chaos going on about the net zero emission and what should our target be. Glasgow meeting के बारे में. There was a lot of discussion happening on that. So possibly his first address this year on the topic of environment remarked that it was not the planet that was fragile. Because we use this term a lot of times, right? That the planet is fragile. That we have disturbed the planet. It has become so fragile that there are holes in our ozone layer, and then because of the UV radiation, we're going to suffer, and the climate has increased. Planet has not become fragile according to him, but the people and their commitment to preserving nature has become fragile. If my commitment is that I need to preserve the nature, I should not be cutting forest, for example. My commitment has become fragile. I have become fragile. The planet hasn't. Such a remarkable line from James Lovelock's Gaia hypothesis that posited the interconnectedness of nature to Nobel laureates who warned the chemical effluents who are altering the planet's atmosphere and causing harmful climate change feedback effects. Many have made the case that humanity is the Anthropocene era. Okay, now what does this line mean? Multiple people from multiple years, multiple decades have told us that the effluents is they're going to harm our environment, and that everything is interconnected. Our development will come at a cost, and that cost is the environment's cost. We've been talking about this for the last many decades. So many have made the case that humanity is in the Anthropocene era. This era where humans are developing, and for the sake of their development, they are putting the climate and the environment at stake, and is like a geological force that is shaping the planet's destiny. Where will the planet go? It's the geological force. How is the geological force being connected here? It's connected here because what we do for our development is going to affect the environment, and in return, the environment will do multiple things that disturbs us. Understood, everyone? Yes? Understood? Yes, everyone? Hi, Shubhangi. Okay. Is my voice not clear? Could you please quickly confirm that? My voice not clear? Hello? Hello? Looks. It's clear. Okay. Clear. ठीक है. आगे बढ़ते हैं. So, however, this gives the distorted sense that it is vaguely defined planet that needs protecting. So, you know, जब 10 साल से 20 साल से ये आ रहा था कि what you're doing is impacting the planet, it is harming the planet, it is harming our climate, the temperature, the ozone layer. It gave us an idea that we are harming the nature, and that the nature and the climate and the planet needs protecting. A notion reinforced by apocalyptic documentaries on melting glaciers. Yes, कि glaciers melt हो जाएंगे, हमको protect करना है हमारे planet को. Reinforced synonyms: strengthened, awakened, weakened, underperformance. Synonym. Anyone? Everyone says, oh, you've already answered. Yes. It is A. The answer is A. It's strengthened. It's reinforced. You make a building, right? Reinforced cement. You make it strengthened, right? So by looking at the documentaries, हमको लगा no, our planet is suffering and that needs protection. The truth is far more complex. Man's embrace of agriculture, the dominance of wheat and rice as food crops, and the clearing of forest tracts caused by the first major large-scale changes to global climate through their effects was apparent only over centuries. Hua kya? So we started producing a lot of grains for our consumption. We started clearing forest, and we did not immediately realize that the impact it's going to have on us. The impact was realized only after many centuries. And the moment we realized that, see, and that's exactly why in the Glasgow meet, our country had put a lot of pressure on the Western nations. That see, the maximum change that has happened in the world is because of the already developed countries. You had made a development at the cost of the environment. So you should be the one at the first place who should ensure that this net zero emission is ensured by you. You should be giving us money so that we can ensure net zero emission by us as well. Because initially nobody knew the impact. It came into the fore after many centuries. Atmospheric changes due to the dawn of the industrial age and the use of fossil fuel happened, relatively speaking, in a blink of an eye. So we started using fossil fuels, and industries and multiple industrialization and atmosphere started changing. What is common to both these eras is that those who suffered are the poor. That exactly happens with any kind of severe situation in a country or a world. Pandemic, for example, take that matter of fact. So in a pandemic, everybody was suffering. But the rich had a bulwark. The rich had a padding that could protect them. The poor were the ones suffering the worst. Similar happens here. The climate changes. So the rich have some money that can save them for some time, not perennially, not eternally, but for some time. Ultimately, the poor are the one who are going to be suffering here. Okay? यस चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं क्या तो पुअर सफर करते हैं पैंडेमिक में देखिए क्लाइमेट चेंज में देखिए तो क्योंकि वो सबसे पहले डिस्टर्ब होते हैं लास्ट ईयर उत्तराखंड सॉ एन एवलांच ऑफ रॉक एंड आइस डिस्ट्रॉयड 2 hydropower projects and caused death. What is the link that you see here? Can you explain that to me in the chat? What is the link that you draw here that the avalanche, why has he given this example? Is he trying to focus on something? That the avalanche had destroyed hydropower projects and causing death. बहुत सारी चीजें होती है सुनामी होती है landslides होती हैं avalanches होते हैं but why this example specifically? Is he trying to say something? I'd like to know that from you. I'd like to know from you. What is he trying to say here? What's your answer? Environmental crisis, okay. Anything else, Sakhi? Think more. Okay. Ocean water, okay. Okay. Can it be this that and because it happened due to excess construction in Uttarakhand? Yes, obviously. So it happened because of what humans did. But is it not a way saying that the something that needs repairing right now is not the planet? It is you who needs repairing because now the nature has taken a position above you. So now the nature will revert to the things that you've done to her. She will destroy everything that you tried to do that would have destroyed her. She would resort, she would retreat, or probably attack again. This is an example of an attack back to the human. So the humans need repairing. The nature, the planet, the climate doesn't. Agreed? सोचा ऐसे किसी ने? Yes, repairing our actions. हमको रिपेयरिंग की जरूरत है. नेचर अब वापस अटैक करेगी अगर आप नहीं रिपेयर कर रहे हो तो नेचर वल्नरेबल नहीं है, आप हो वल्नरेबल सिचुएशन में. तो नेचर इस तरीके से रिएक्ट करेगी. एग्जैक्टली अभिनव, एग्जैक्टली यस, बिल्कुल यही बात. सोचा ऐसे किसी ने? यस, चलिए आगे देखते हैं. तो इस तरीके से आपको पढ़ना जरूरी है जब आप पढ़ते हो आर्टिकल्स. ओके. The geology of the Himalayas, scientists have long warned, makes the region inhospitable to large mega engineering projects. We've been telling them don't do these projects because the area is fragile and severe floods, landslides, earthquakes over the years have underlined this time and again. But while the earth rearranges itself, the earth will do that. You'll make tunnels. The earth will make sure that the tunnels are destroyed, like the dams were destroyed. So the earth will rearrange itself. वो तो accommodate कर लेगी. It does so in a manner that can be destructive and lethal to those least responsible for causing the disequilibrium. So those people who had died, poor ones, had died, the ones जिनका घर है उत्तराखंड में maybe, those people who lost their lives, they were probably the least responsible people for this development in the Himalayas. But they lost their lives, and thus it reinstates the fact that the poor are the one who suffer in the beginning, and then the richers they suffer in the end. Thus, if fragile were to mean a bitterness needing care, then it is the people who are fragile and the animals that need protection than a vaguely defined planet. Planet doesn't need protection. The planet will readjust. There are going to be volcanic eruptions. There's going to be a rising sea level. There's going to be more and absurd rainfall or avalanches like this sort. You need readjustment. You are fragile and you are going to suffer. India's position of climate justice is that it cannot be denied the right to rely on polluting fossil fuels to ameliorate the living conditions of most Indians who have limited access to reliable energy. In India, the condition that we have right now is that our access to reliable energy is less, and we can't rely on these fossil fuels, the polluting ones, forever. Ameliorate, synonym, worse, better, reinvent, or none. Synonym, exactly. Synonym, ameliorate. It's to make better. It's to make better, not worsen, but make better. So these fossil fuels are used to make our lives better at the cost of the environment. It's better. Ameliorate is to make better. Okay? Yes, Kushi, it is for both the year students. Okay? So, thus, India will continue to fire coal plants, raise forests for industry, and build roads in a fraud geology. In other words, put the lives of millions of the vulnerable at climate risk in the pursuit of economic development. We need development, and for that development, we'll cut forests, make roads, make tunnels inside the entire mountain, and multiple things, and use fossil fuel. India's commitment to net zero is set decades into the future, 2070, you know that in the gas cloud meet. ये सबको पता होना चाहिए कि हमारा net zero emission का target is 2070. Unknowns characterize climate science, and India, given its size and population, will be disproportionately vulnerable because the number of rich is lesser than the number of poor. हमारी country में ऐसा है graph. This is the rich, these are the poor. So ultimately, this part is going to be affected if destruction happens by the nature. So it must accelerate and prioritize the transition to energy sources that are minimally perturbing to the nature balance, because on this science is certain that planet, which may be in a form incomprehensible at present, will long outlast its current existence. लाइन का मतलब क्या है? लाइन हिंदी में इंग्लिश में दोनों में समझाती हूँ. हिंदी में ये अर्थ तो आप मर जाओगे, मैं मर जाऊंगी, हम में से कोई नहीं बचेगा, ये अर्थ तो बचेगा. अर्थ आप और मेरे से बहुत लंबे टाइम तक जिएगा. तो अगर हमको इस अर्थ के साथ रहना है तो हमको एडजस्टमेंट करना पड़ेगा. अर्थ एडजस्टमेंट करने लग गई तो आप भी नहीं बचोगे और मैं भी नहीं बचूंगा. The idea is that the people who live in the earth, their life is small. The earth will live on at least longer than you and I live. So we are fragile and we need to make adjustments so that we don't suffer because we are disturbing earth here. So earth is not fragile, you and I are. Tone of the author, everybody. What's the tone? Tone of the author. Who's going to tell me? Tone. By the time people tell me tone, मुझे ये बताइए कि अभिनव कैसी चल रही पढ़ाई? बहुत दिनों बाद देखा मैंने आपको. Concerning. Yes. Concerning. Concerning. Yes. Highly, highly concerning. Alright, let's go to the next article, everybody. चलिए next article पे चलते हैं. Ranganathan got that. The answer is B. Next article. Wrong solution. Haryana saying 75% of the jobs that pay up to 30,000 rupees in Haryana, 75% of these jobs would be reserved for people who are domiciled of Haryana. Fair enough. What's wrong in that? Something's good and something's bad. Now, Haryana में ये decision, it becomes a massive decision because we've got Gurugram in Haryana. And Gurugram, there are so many MNCs there, and thus they have an obligation. If this law continues, they have an obligation to hire people who are residents of Haryana only for that specific job. At least 75% is mandatory. You could hire more as well. They'll be more than happy. Now, if there are multiple aspects to it, everyone understand before I explain this article to you. If I run an MNC in Gurugram and I have to hire people only from Haryana, 75% of my staff. But if I don't find efficient staff, my work will be at a loss. My company will be at a loss. Right? And if there's a mandate, then I have to hire them. And if, for example, Rajasthan has a candidate who's more suitable, I can't hire that Rajasthani candidate because मुझे हरियाणा के ही resident को hire करना पड़ेगा. But on the contrary, आप ये देखो, government jobs, they give domicile reservation. They do. Government vacancies, they give you domicile reservation. NLUs, they give you domicile reservation. The idea is to promote that state wherever you are located. Why not this? If you are using a state's land to make money, why don't you ensure people surrounding you are benefited? So there are two sides of this coin. The article talks about that. Without any personal opinions, let's read this, everyone. Okay? Yes, it has been reduced. अच्छा है, well reduce कर दिया, नहीं तो बहुत problem हो जाती. So, and by the way, it's not only Haryana. Okay, so it's not only Haryana. Multiple other states have passed that too. So the issue of reserving private sector jobs for people domiciled within the same state may face its first judicial test soon. So because this has become a massive case, it has reached to the apex court. It's going to have a hearing very, very soon. It's going to go through a judicial test. The Supreme Court has asked the Punjab and Haryana High Court to decide within 4 weeks the validity of the Haryana law mandating. Is it valid or not? Because when you challenge a bill passed, it can be challenged only and only when it is invalid. तो सबसे पहले ये चेक करो कि क्या ये law valid है कि नहीं. Within 4 weeks check करके बताओ that this 75% reservation for local candidates in private sector job up to 30,000 rupees a month, is it a valid law or not? Even though the apex court sets aside an interim stay, apex synonym, less inferior complex peak. What's the synonym here? You guys are super fast. You've already answered that. B. It is peak or zenith. Yes, Shreya, it is peak. All right. So it's even though the apex court set aside an interim stay order granted by the High Court, it was only doing so because the stay was granted without assigning reasons. So it said, okay, figure out the reasons. If you don't have a valid reason, there cannot be a stay on the order. It's going to continue. Okay. So और फिर पता है क्या होगा? मैं आपको बताती हूँ क्या. गुरुग्राम से इंडस्ट्रीज मूव करके, कंपनीज मूव करके चली जाएंगे नोएडा, क्योंकि यूपी में तो ऐसा लॉ है नहीं. तो अगर 50 किलोमीटर चेंज करके अगर आप किसी और एनसीआर के सिटी में रिलोकेट कर लेते हो, काम तो हो जाता है. मैं क्यों कॉम्प्रोमाइज करूं? Why should I hire somebody with less caliber only because there's a law? You can do that. So it is a settled principle that legislation cannot be stayed unless there is a preliminary finding that it is unconstitutional. This law is not unconstitutional. It doesn't suffer any glaring illegality till now. If no such thing is presented to the apex court, this law will not be stayed. Glaring illegality. That is, आपने बेसिक फंडामेंटल राइट वायलेट कर, लेकिन फंडामेंटल राइट यहाँ आता है, देखो क्या फंडामेंटल राइट आता है यहाँ. There are quite a few issues that arise when the state introduces a quota in the private sector, especially if it is based on a domicile norm. What are the issues that can arise? The first one, Andhra Pradesh and Jharkhand have also introduced such laws, while the DMK had promised 75% reservation in its election manifesto last year. One thing, this is not the first state passing this. This is not the first state promising it. Two, during the pandemic, a lot of people lost their jobs. So any government, if it wants to come into the power in the state, it can assure its residents कि ठीक है मैं भी पास कर दूंगा ये लॉ. जब हरियाणा कर रहा है, तमिलनाडु कर रहा है, आंध्रा कर रहा है, झारखंड कर रहा है, मैं भी कर दूंगा ये लॉ पास. उससे क्या होगा, मेरा वोट बैंक तो बढ़ जाएगा. Do you understand the whole linkage here? Thus, given the bleak employment situation in the backdrop of the reported loss of millions of jobs during the pandemic, it's no surprise that the leadership in every state seeks to find employment opportunities for its youth. They would do that, and to ensure that a 75% reservation bill can easily be passed. In some states, employers may find it cheaper to use services from those faraway states. I'll give you an example. Daily wagers, आप देखते हो, they're migrant workers. Most of the daily wagers are migrant workers. Why? Because they are cheaper labor. Thus, many industries find cheaper labor if they are bought from a different state to this state, while others, there may be an acute shortage of labor within the local population. या फिर मेरे पास population में है ही नहीं, workable class ही नहीं है, ऐसा category ही नहीं है मेरे पास लोगों का जो मैं hire कर सकूं. मैं बाहर के state से क्यों नहीं hire करती हूँ? I have been working in Delhi and Bangalore and Jaipur. I've been relocating throughout, you know that. Why was I done? Why did I do that? I did that because possibly they needed people from other states and their state could not fulfill this problem. Okay? Now what happens? So. Here we go. The first hurdle that a law such as the Haryana State Employment of Local Candidate Act will face is the constitutional bar on discrimination on the basis of place or birth of residence. So that's the first problem with this law. You are discriminating on the basis of where a person is born or where a person lives in. So that's discrimination. Don't hire people from Delhi, hire people from Haryana only. Don't hire people from Bangalore, hire people from Haryana only. That's first discrimination. Even though the constitution allows the government to prescribe a residential criterion for employment to public posts, it is doubtful whether such a measure can be extended to the private sector. So the second point is the government jobs ensure domicile reservation, but with private jobs, it's a dicey situation. So we don't know what's going to be the outcome. In the Haryana case, it covers companies, societies, trusts, partnership firms, individual employers, everyone. Every single place where 75% reservation can be made mandatory. The industry may feel aggrieved that the residential requirement may adversely affect the hiring of the talent from outside Haryana. It not may, it will adversely affect the hiring from talent outside Haryana. Aggrieved, synonym, hurt, dead, happy, worse. Synonym, everybody. What's the synonym here? It's hurt? Yes, it is. Okay. So, from an individual point of view, the law may impinge on the freedom of movement, the right to reside and settle in any part of the country. As a fundamental right, I have a right to move and relocate to any part of the country. There's no barrage, there's no barricade. I can do that. This will put a stop on that. Why would I relocate? You are rather curbing my relocation by putting in a law like this, and a lot of states are going to follow this if this is passed. Of course, the Act provides for exemption to any employer if an adequate number of local candidates are not available in terms of skill, qualification, and proficiency. But how do you define that people aren't available for that skill? Most of the times, the state would justify that yes, available है, तुम hire करो, proficiency है, हम train करेंगे, हम skills सिखाएंगे, आप hire करो. So in that case, If when it's not available, you can hire from other states. But the chances of this happening is meager. And then there is a sunset clause as well to this law that is on the verge of being passed. The act will cease to operate in 10 years. So this law, if it falls into place, is going to go on for 10 years. After 10 years, it wouldn't go on. So after 10 years, probably you can hire from outside as well. Beyond the question of legality, what is flagged by such developments is the state of economy, especially the labor economy. Rapid urbanization and agrarian situation are behind large-scale migration. प्रॉब्लम है ना इसमें? Okay, tone of the author. Tone of the author, everybody. Tone. What's the tone, people? Tone of the author. Analytical, okay? क्वेश्चन आज नहीं बना पाए बच्चे, कल लेके आओ. Okay? Tone of the author, analytical. Analytical. Absolutely. What impact would that have? Analytical. Okay? Is analytical. A little bit critical, but mostly analytical. Okay? Now, guys, a few things. All right. Okay. So let's look at today's Hindu and Indian Express. Let me share today's newspapers and let's see what's important in today's papers that we need to read and what is that we can skip. Give me a second. Let me share the paper in the background. If you have any questions, you could post it under my video in the comment section. Okay, so there we go. Visible है सबको? The first page. Skim through it, okay? If you don't understand it, comment under my video. I might take this article tomorrow if you don't understand it. Tapping technology for multilingual learning. Very, very, very important. इस पे questions, articles आ सकते हैं एग्जाम में. इसको please detail में पढ़ लेना. No slacking. Very important. Okay. COVID related articles are important होते हैं. इसको detail में पढ़ना. The budgets, hell, green shoot. Only skip. Only. Next page. Our next is fostering Muslim authoritarianism. Skim. On equal footing of GST. Skim. Next page becomes form, abates, cars remain. No, 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 not at all important. Not at all. Okay. मैम आपकी क्लासेस से टोन अच्छे से आ गए बट मैम सीआर अच्छे से नहीं कर पा रही हूँ. मोविस प्लीज अपने फंडामेंटल्स पे काम करिए. Assumption or conclusion. Yes, आज 12:30 क्लास होगा. Yes, Shrishti, it's a massive number. That's the problem with the law. मैम मेरी accuracy कल के sectional test में 93% थी. अच्छी accuracy है बच्चे. Okay. मैम suggestive नहीं है. प्रियंका सजेशन इसलिए आया क्योंकि वो कंसर्न है. तो अगर आपको एक चूज करना है ना, आई वुड स्टिल चूज एनालिटिकल. ओके, ठीक है. यस, यस है अभिनव, बिल्कुल है. एग्जैक्टली. ओके, ऐप पे होगा अभिनव, वो ऐप पे है. Okay, so this page is done. Let's look at text and context. The despotic nature of Prevention of Money Laundering Act. इसको पढ़ लेना, ये अच्छा है, बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग भी है. कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव, नो नो नो, ये जरूरी नहीं है आपको. नेक्स्ट पेज देखते हैं टेक्स्ट का. अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट बेनिफिट्स डेली वर्क, क्योंकि हमारे कंट्री में तो है नहीं ऐसा, बट यूएस में हमने ये देखा है. यस, ये जरूरी है आपको. नो ब्रिंगबैक्स हियर. यस, इसको पढ़ लेना. चलिए इंडियन एक्सप्रेस देखते हैं ओपिनियन। तो पहला आर्टिकल है द हिजाब कंट्रोवर्सी इज नॉट अबाउट सेक्युलर रिफॉर्म ओनली स्कीम। शुरुजीत सर ऑल ओवर। मुझे शुरुजीत सर को बताना पड़ेगा। US treaty could give a fillip to Indian export in the Gulf and Africa, only skip. Ravish Tiwari was a rare journalist, only skip. The significance of EU-India partnership in Indo-Pacific, yes, important. India's food grain production has been rising since 2007. The challenge now is to transfer benefits to farmers, only skip. Sandhya Mukherjee's songs, skip. Now is the time for compassion towards students, supremely important. Please read this, everybody. What it takes to swim to the sharks. Shark Tank made it to the editorial today. Read this. Yes. The legacy of caste in Latin America. Yes, ये भी important है. And that is all from today's newspaper. I shall see you at 12:30 on the BBA channel, everybody. And have a very, very good day. God bless all of you. Bye, everyone. Ragini, you could do it from the Indian Express today. It has a lot of news. Okay? Bye, guys.